We getting a little bit into the subject matter for today, right? I think the impetus for where we also wanted to do this session came from this place that we've been seeing just the sheer impact of AI in our personal lives, right? I don't think there's anybody in this call at this point of time who's not using at least some AI chatbot for work, for personal use on the regular basis. And then second, if you're a little bit closer to the tech ecosystem, whether you're a software developer or you're in the VC ecosystem, like I have the privilege of being, you also keep coming across just the sheer amount of work that companies are doing, building different applications. And then this entire context over the last 1 year of very, very small companies with like teams that are just in the dozens of people,
Hmm.
which are scaling to tens or even hundreds of millions of dollars of revenue faster than businesses have ever done before, right? So that was where the impetus came from. And we thought, if you want to, we've been trying here at Ops Matters to help people figure out how to sort of build their companies to be more successful in their roles functionally. And one of the areas there that came to mind was how do we also then leverage AI to do some of these things. So maybe we start at the top, right? From your vantage point, your perspective, what you've seen at CrewTrim, the applications that people had started trying to build using the capabilities that you were providing, what you're seeing from an investor's perspective at TDK today. Could you give us a brief idea of what is sort of the state of AI today? What are some of these core business operations, these customer experiences that, at least from what we're seeing today, there is a fundamental opportunity for redesign, right? Like if you're a product manager, if you're an operations leader, whoever you are, you're building a business at this point of time. Maybe from the value chain of the business perspective, give us a little bit of a sense of where are the different places at a high level where you think AI can be deployed well today, and then we'll jump into a little bit more of the specifics of how to think about it.
Sure, sure. So maybe let me start by talking about the broad areas of interest going forward, or even now for TDK Ventures, right? Which is, uh, we are a corporate VC fund, and working primarily on two sectors. One is, computing, which is basically broadly AI driven right now, right? Which is, let's say, half of our focus, and the other half is climate transition, right? And there's a lot of in between also because computing is very power consuming, right? So these are the two blocks and the overlap, right, in which we function. And TDK looks at it very, very comprehensively, right? So I'll tell you what we don't look at. We don't look at end applications at all, right? We are not a software oriented company, investing firm. There are many companies who do SaaS, AI applications, etc. We don't do that. But if you look at other things which are related to AI, and that squarely falls under the infrastructure side, right? What happens inside the data center, AI data center, and what happens outside it, right? We look at all of that very comprehensively. So let's look at what is inside the data center, right? So you have these application specific or AI accelerators. We have made an investment in Grok, not the with the one with the K, but the Q, right? Which does very fast inferencing. So that is one of TDK Ventures investment, which is on the semi side, right? Now, besides the silicon, you have all the AI is constrained actually by the interconnect, the networking, right? So we have done investments in that space, some announced, some not announced, but very exciting spaces there, which allows very high bandwidth data interchange, which is very required in building large language models and large models in general, right? So you would have photonics companies, co-packaged silicon photonics, etc. These are of interest, and we have made an investment in a company called Nubis, doing really well on the back of the advent of AI. Then you would see companies like in the fab side, right? So there is a trend towards doing chiplet-based architectures, and you need specialized fabs to do that. We have made an investment in Silicon Box. It's a unicorn. Grok is also a unicorn. We have, been lucky in that sense that several of our bets have turned out to be unicorn type ideas, and we came in early. So Silicon Box is an example, which is doing these, packages for chiplets, which is the dominant architecture. You will see all the new releases by NVIDIA and others would be using this architecture. So that's an example. So you'd see this is all within the system. Actually, it is within the server system, right? You have semiconductors, you have the interconnects that I spoke about, the fab which creates the semi in the first place, and also cooling systems which are material science led. How do you cool down the semiconductors where such compute is happening? So this is all inside the data center. And outside the data center, the key questions in AI is, where do you get the power from, right? On one side, because you want to do very large clusters of AI servers for larger model training. It cannot be distributed, right? So that is one problem statement. And second is the how do you take this power in an intelligent manner so that there is no wastage, right? So we have made investments in a nuclear fusion company called Type 1 Energy. You would see a lot of movement to nuclear power for data centers because it's clean, it's distributed. You can get a huge capacity. Let's say you want to do 1 gigawatt data center in India. There is no site available. You can't do it, right? But that is the need for the future. You will see Microsoft, Meta, everybody investing in nuclear power or building one, right? Building a data center which is 1 gigawatt type. So the scale up requires this. Then the transmission, right? So when you do this kind of power generation, which is variable in nature, you want renewable energy to be used, you need transmission, right? And that is a company, we have invested in a company called Ampersand, based out of Singapore, which is doing these solid state transformers. So not the conventional low frequency transformers, but semiconductor defined, using semiconductors, you do transformers. So that's another domain. So this is all AI backwards, right? What will AI need in terms of infrastructure, and what will therefore what we'll do. We are doing several things on the software side also, but that is again foundational models, not end applications per se, right? I can talk through later, but that's our view as a firm on what we are looking at, right?